All right, you saw the title of this video. This is not clickbait. I am being 1000% serious. Let's talk about it. This is the first video I've ever been nervous for. I'm gonna be fully transparent. I guess first off, hi, I'm Jacob. Welcome back to Sunday Yap Session, the show where every Sunday I hop on here and yap at you all about something with some sort of cohesive through line to carry us all through. Sometimes we do better than others. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like. If you want to yap with me every single Sunday, subscribe. Let's just get into it. I feel like doing this is so weird. Here's what we're drinking. Okay. So yes, I am basically fleeing Oklahoma is what we're gonna call this. Am I technically fleeing, I guess, in the grand scheme of things? No, but also yes. But safe to say, I am moving. Part of me is very nervous to talk about this because I largely have not talked to like anybody really about this other than like the people who need to know. This will all be out and like everybody will know by the time this video is uploaded, but I haven't talked to my job yet. I haven't even put in like my apartment leave notice yet. This is the week where I'm having to like drop all of this information on anybody. I haven't even told a lot of my friends that I'm moving. So like, I'm still very like nervous and like anxious about like talking about all of this publicly, but like part of it does feel very relieved that I finally can talk about this. So I'm leaving. I am moving to Chicago. If you've seen the last two like Chicago pieces of content I have made, what you didn't see was that was me apartment hunting for all of that. That most recent vlog where I'm like exploring all the neighborhoods and walking around and just like hopping from neighborhood to neighborhood without really explaining like why that's what I'm doing with my vacation. That was me trying to figure out where I wanted to live. The most recent clips, I don't know if all of it will be uploaded yet, but I have some more content coming about Chicago. What you didn't see, and that was me going on apartment tours and trying to find a new place to live so I can get out. And that has been the part about this that has felt the worst. We're gonna get into why I'm leaving Oklahoma. I think a lot of you can like figure out why, but like we'll get into the specifics. But like, I don't like lying if I can avoid it. I do not like, you know, feeling like I'm like sneaking around and going behind people's back and things like that. And that is basically what I've had to do for the past like, I mean, concretely like 6 months, but like largely the last year. Having conversations at my job about future plans that I know I'm not gonna be able to fulfill. Talking to my friends and making plans for the future, knowing that like it's not going to come to fruition and things like that. And like just having to be like very protective over this process until everything was like locked in and for sure. And part of that was because that I wanted everything to be like locked in and like made sure that I had a place to live and that like all of the stuff was gonna like logistically work out and that I was gonna be able to afford to do this too. And we're gonna get into finances in another video because I'm not even gonna tell y'all everything today, but there's more complexity to this that we're gonna talk about in a future video, but we're just gonna do part 1 today. But yeah, I have basically like had to keep all of this on the low so that I don't have to worry about like getting fired prematurely from my job. Not that I think that would happen, but like, I don't know, I'm in a community where like everybody kind of knows everybody and I'm like 1 or 2 degrees of separation away from people. So I've had to be very, very secretive about this. Also, like, I'm just gonna be very blunt. I don't really want to be super public about where I live and where I'm at and where in the transition stage I am of that and like where exactly I'm gonna be going in Chicago, because I have had more than a few people online threaten to kill me. Are they founded? Like, is it actually like an imminent threat that like these people are actually gonna do something? I don't know, and I would like to believe no, but I don't want to find out. So that's why like I've just had to be like very obscure about some of these. There's like so many reasons and we're not gonna get into all that, but like, yeah. So I live in Oklahoma right now. Let's talk about why I don't want to be here anymore. So I guess first and foremost, some good like background context. I haven't wanted to live in Oklahoma for quite a while. I haven't talked about it super thoroughly on here just because like I don't really want to. I moved from Oklahoma when I was fresh out of college. I think I was like 23. I think when I graduated, 22, whatever. Back then, I was having like a lot of internal turmoil about just like where I wanted to go, where I wanted my life to lead, and just like feeling like there was no life for me here. Basically feeling like I just knowing that this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I left, I moved to Rhode Island right out of college. I moved to be with the person that I was dating at the time. That didn't end up working out for reasons we're probably not gonna talk about on this channel ever, if I'm being completely honest, because it's very messy. That's all I'm gonna say. And so I basically like pretty spontaneously had to go back home. And so I went and lived at my parents' house, and that felt like failure, if I'm being completely honest, because like I was like, I had just gotten out and I was excited, and this was all like happening during the pandemic too, which is still happening. Let me be clear. Let me clear it up. Clock it. When I said that, I meant I moved in like May 2020. Like, it was happening and it was happening fresh. So like the timing was really horrible, and the timing feels horrible now. We'll get into that in a minute, but just like, yeah. So I tried to leave once and it didn't end up working out, and it was a much more viable situation for me to just come back home and kind of like reassess and figure out like what I want to do with my life. And I have been here far longer than I thought I would. That is largely because the job I have is really, really, really good. Once I am gone and out of here, because again, I don't want to talk about like where I work and stuff like that. Once I move, we'll talk about what I work and like the work that I do. I think a lot of you will actually find it very, very interesting, and it'll make a lot more pieces of this click. But I have a very good job that allows me a lot of like creative flexibility. I think a lot of power and decision making that a lot of people at my age and this earlier in their career are not getting. I also started going to therapy. I found a great therapist, and that girl, I was talking to him about this today. I was almost crying in the therapy session because I am so sad because he can't work across state lines. So like once I move, we're not gonna be talking anymore. So like that's sad. The circumstances of me being back here, and then just like so many good things started happening. Like I got this job that like I didn't really think was gonna be like a thing, and I was excited to have that job. I met my boyfriend, which that's been like one of the best things that's happened to me here. And like I did not think that, like, especially under the pretenses that we met, like I did not think that like this was going to be something so special and like so wonderful. And he's moving with me, of course. My mental health has gotten on track. I've like rediscovered my passions. I've rediscovered my hobbies, figured out what I want, who I am, who I want to be, what I value, what I want to do in the world, so on and so forth. All of these like things have been happening, and I've kind of like built this life that, like, aside from all the political stuff going on, and we'll get in that in just a second, like I enjoy my life here. I have the luxury of living in one of the bigger cities. Like if I was living in like the burbs, where like the rural burbs where I grew up and stuff like that, like it'd be a different situation. But I'm in an area where I am getting the better end of the stick than a lot of people in this state. I have this beautiful apartment. I have a job, you know, that I should be paid more at, but I am paid like pretty decently compared to my peers. The food's nice. I know this area. Like it's also just like cheap to live here too. I'm in a position in my career where like if I stuck with this job, I probably could work there for the rest of my professional career. Like there is a lot of upward mobility. And because of the political climate and because of all of this awful stuff going on, basically what feels like the decisions of like a handful of powerful people, it feels no longer safe for like my mental health, for my physical safety, and just for like my well-being to stay here. If you're not plugged into Oklahoma politics, I would highly encourage you to get plugged in. Even if you don't live here, I think a lot of people talk about like Texas and Florida is kind of these like super conservative, kind of at like the forefront of a lot of these like, you know, attacks on the trans community, attacks on like minorities, like deportations, like all of this stuff. Oklahoma is like right there, and I think it kind of just like flies under the radar because like not a lot of people are thinking about Oklahoma, which is very interesting. Like if you are not like educated on Oklahoma history, Oklahoma is like a key state in so much of this country's history, from like the inception of America to like today. Oklahoma in a lot of ways is like the testing ground for just like horrible, awful stuff. Our governor, who is just like a demon, basically. You've got like Ryan Walters, also a demon. We got like the libs of TikTok person here doing stuff, demon. That's like my go-to, like everything I don't like, everything's like demonic lately. That's like the Oklahoman to me. I'm like, it's demonic. Not like actually, but like y'all get what I'm saying. We have so many attacks happening on like the trans community. I think y'all probably saw about like the next Benedict who died because of stuff that was happening in school, and largely because of lack of support for trans and LGBTQ individuals here. My local equality center has been like shot in drive-bys. There have been bomb threats targeting Black communities. Like, it's spooky. And a lot of people here, especially with our current president, feel very emboldened, in my opinion. There's just a myriad of things that are not going well. And then there's like all of the very like obvious stuff too. Like, I do not feel like I have a happy, full life that I can like fully live as a gay person. I do not feel like I can have a happy, full life as a Black person here. And even just as like a young person who wants to affect positive change, like, I don't feel like this is the place for me to be. I think in the future, there will be content of me talking about like the excitement that I have about moving to Chicago. Like the apartment that I got, girl, it's so good. It's so good. The area I'm gonna be in, so good. I am like so looking forward to that. But I am like sad about this. I thought I was just gonna be like super, super excited, but like all the stuff that I am having to like leave behind. Just like I kind of mentioned, like if I decided to stay here, could I be like fine? probably, I don't know, who knows, especially with like the stuff that Trump's doing right now. We'll see if this is resolved by the time this is updated. But like Kilmar Garcia being deported wrongfully and basically being kidnapped by our government, being sent to El Salvador, and them just being like, no, we're not gonna give him back. And I feel like if stuff like that is going to be happening, it's going to be happening places here. It's going to be happening here. It's going to be happening in Texas. It's going to be happening in Florida, in these places where like they're already like in step with like our president and what he wants to do and stuff. So like, who knows if I will even be okay here. But like, if I decided to stay, I think there is a life that I could live, but I would be miserable because I already am miserable. Like, if I'm being like so for real, like there are a lot of parts of my life that I like, but being here, I do not like it. I do not like it a lot, but at the same time I do. Like, it's so complicated. Like, I think my time here has been very well spent, and there's like a lot of really good things that I'm leaving behind, both because in a positive way, like I am taking agency and deciding that like, I don't want this. This is enough. I do not want to be here if things hit the fan, and I feel like I have given so much of myself to this state and it has not been reciprocated at all. But then on the other hand, it does feel like I'm being pushed out, and especially going to Chicago, like it's giving like Great Migration vibes. Like, it sucks that like because of the identities I occupy and the life that I want to live, and that being incongruent from like the state and the state's goals and the governmental goals and things like that, that I can't live near my family, that I can't keep this job that I like, that I can't keep my therapist that has gotten me so far in like my mental health journey, that I have to move to a place that has like double the cost of living in like a lot of ways. Like, it does not feel fair. And like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, it feels like I am like a victim of circumstance and a victim of these like unserious culture wars that like have swept up half of our country into like doing things against their best interest. And like, I'm going through all of this and feeling bad, and I'm not getting even like the worst end of the stick. Like, I'm still alive and I'm going to be able to do this. There are so many people who have not even been able to make it this far. And there are so many people that are going to be stuck here because of the economics of it all and how expensive it is to like move to another place and like start a whole life. Like I said, like this has been something that I've been working on behind the scenes for like basically a year at this point. And this has involved going to Chicago multiple times, taking time off work to like view apartments and things like that, and paying for transportation and hotels and food, blah, blah, blah. I have probably spent like $2,000 or $3,000 just on like the hunt process, and then I'm gonna spend another couple $1,000 like moving my life up there. Like, and like, it doesn't have to be this way. And that's like the part that makes me the most frustrated. Like, this largely is all happening because this place is not hospitable to me, because people are caught up in like silly political games that are like playing with people's lives. Like, it is, I hate it. But I do want to say, like, my community has been like so helpful and like helping me get to this place. So I'm like so grateful for that. Like, especially my besties accommodating me, joining me to go to Chicago to like view apartments and like explore the city and things like that. My boyfriend, of course, my therapist, and like some of my other friends and stuff like that too. And that is why like in so many of my videos, I harp on like getting in contact with your community and like, you know, leaning on your neighbors and things like that. Because as things get spookier and spookier, like that's all we're going to be able to have. Like, so many of our systems and the people that we should be able to rely on and the infrastructure and all of that, we are seeing the process of that failing. And I don't know like how far it's gonna go, and I don't want to get like all doomy and gloomy. Like, y'all know I'm an optimist. I like to stay positive. I like to see the best in situations, and I like to think that like humanity will always find its way towards like the right path. But like, I think it's going to get darker before it gets a lot better. So if you are not plugged into your community, that's why I say things like go and meet your neighbors. Like, I'm serious. Like, go meet your neighbors. Like, go get in contact with community. It's now, if you haven't started now, like yesterday was the time, but like now's the next best time. Oh, and I wanted to talk about this earlier too, but I guess we'll talk about like the brain drain of it all too, because like that was something that weighed on me pretty heavy when I wanted to leave the first time, because I'm talking about like things I don't like about Oklahoma and like how I feel unsafe and things like that. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, you should stay and you should work on fixing it. And I have, and we'll talk maybe a little bit more about some of the stuff I've been doing in real life, because again, when people threaten to kill me, I don't want to talk about what I'm doing in my personal life and what I'm doing and who I'm organizing with and blah, 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 blah. And largely too, I don't think a lot of that should be like online conversations just in general, but I've been doing my part. I could be doing more, but I'm trying to do my part. I try to do things personally and professionally that make the place I live better and make it more like hospitable and more welcoming to people like me, because I don't want people to go through what I have experienced. But it gets to a certain point. I feel an obligation to my community, and I feel an obligation to like Oklahomans, the people, but I have gotten just to the point I do not feel an obligation to this state. And I don't think that like I'm doing myself any favors by like staying here and sacrificing to fix problems that, like, if I'm being completely frank, I don't feel like are my problems to fix. Black people especially have given so much to this state and have had so much more taken in response to that. I'm ready to take my efforts somewhere that is less hostile to me and isn't going to make like just my baseline identities feel like threats to my livelihood. But like, that's still eating at me. They're still in the back of my mind being like, okay, well, like if you leave, you're gonna be like one less person who is like progressive and can help out and things like that and make this place better. And like, I don't know if that feeling's ever gonna go away, but like, it's also, like I said, like I'm also not willing to sacrifice myself for this place. I don't have a good answer there for yet, and I don't really have a conclusion today because I'm still like deep in this. I am still trying to like parse out how I feel. I was in therapy today talking about how I feel about all this, and it was just like, basically I feel like every emotion all at once, and largely it's just like anticipation is the core emotion. The anxious, the scared, the worry, the fear that this isn't gonna work out like it did last time, like all of this, but then also like excitement and joy and like self-fulfillment and actualization that I've been able to make this happen. And like all of it is just like this big ball of anticipation. This for sure isn't going to be the last time we talk about this, but I'll probably talk about this several more times as my feelings grow and evolve, because I'm gonna have so many feelings about this. But yeah, just want to tell you all that. So if you see the background changing, if you see stuff coming down, if you see things moving around, that is because I'm getting out of here. If you have the privilege, I'm not gonna say you should do the same, but I'm gonna say you should consider if that's an option, and if that's an option you want to pursue. Also, especially if you were an Oklahoman, but if you were just someone in general who is like curious about trying to do something similar and you want me to talk about this more and kind of like get more into the logistics, I do plan to make a video on like the financial aspect of that, so that'll be coming at some point. I will be fully transparent, like I do have a level of privilege that makes this a little bit easier than some people, but I have navigated pretty much every economic bracket. I think my family at this point is like probably like lower middle class. I don't know how the classes work, but like they're doing all right now. But like, y'all, I have lived in poverty. I have like had my house seized by the bank. Like I've seen like a lot of ends of the spectrum and stuff like that. So like, this is not like a Nepo baby situation where my parents are funding my move. I am able to do this because I have been saving for a very long time to do something like this. So I'll cover all of that in like a financial breakdown and do all of that in the future. But I just want to warn you, like, this is expensive and this is a luxury that I even like am able to do this. And I want to be very clear about that. But if you're in Oklahoma or if you're in another state and you are thinking about moving for like similar reasons as me, and you have questions or you just want like someone to like soundboard off of and things like that, I am more than happy to like be super transparent, talk about pretty much any part of this process at all. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to respond to people. And if I need to make follow-up videos and things like that, I can. But yeah, no grand conclusion, no final thoughts. This isn't even my full thoughts. We're gonna get into more in the future, but I think that's all I got in me today. This has been very emotional. I'll just be very like transparent too. Like I've been crashing out a little bit. I'm behind the scenes. Hopefully now that I can like talk about it very transparently, I will be feeling better about it more. That is today's video. Thank you for watching. It feels so weird doing like the like and blah, 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 blah. So if you liked it, like it. If you want to hang out, subscribe. More videos to come. Catch you later.